Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Now, we're linked with Liechtensteiner, we're linked with several players, but one that looks to be completed if you believe all the reports that have been linked to him, Sokratis Papadopoulos, I believe that's his last name. Let's just call him Sokratis. Now, it seems like there's no balance, generally speaking, between our fan base for this guy. Now, he's just simply not what they pictured when they said, me included to a degree, and I'll get onto that, where they said, it's not the centre. We need a centre half, like a composing centre half. It's probably not necessarily the name you was looking at. And some that watch him are really happy. There seems to be no in between. Now, my opinion is, if you was asking me to name, or not even name, I don't like naming people, to go and to get a centre half or eye up targets, he probably would not be on that list. So by that logic, it is kind of underwhelming. Let's keep it 100 people. It is an underwhelming signing to a degree, but by the same logic, it seems like some don't want to see anything that he's good at. He's a decent centre-half. Granted, when he gets ripped, he can be a bit comical. Granted, at times he can be a bit rash. He can switch off a bit and things like that. But by the same token, he's got everything that we need at this club. So rather than judge him on just because he's not what we wanted necessarily, let's judge him on what he brings to the table. He's someone that stays resolute and sticks to his task. I mean, out of all the tackles he's attempted, he won 89% of them. He only lost 8. He won 65 out of the 73 he made. I don't know for broadly speaking Bundesliga, but I do know for his team, only Weigl scored points scored close to him, well, was better than him. So yeah, he's a rock. If we go back a couple years, I'm sure 13-14 he was named as one of the best centre halves in the Bundesliga. Like I said, it can be a bit comical, but what I like about him, he's a tough tackler. He means it. One thing that's not spoken about, he's a good ball player. Emre talks about his centre halves needing to be able to ball play. I'll give all our centre-halves that, whether they're good or not, they can all do that. But by that logic, he comes into it. He can step out of defence. He's strong. He's passionate. Like, he stands up to be counted. He's a leader, and I don't just mean that. And even if you look at his Werder Bremen days, I believe, him and Marko Arnautovic, someone he might buck in the Premier League next year, we're about to fight each other. That's what we need at the club. I'm not saying man need to fight, but we need man that take pride in their performance. He is extremely aggressive, which I like in all my centre-halves. Decent size on him, so it is decent. We could have, for the money and the austerity measures that are going on at this club, I know we're seeing Fabinho and all these other great players linked with all the other top 5 out of the top 6 clubs, but austerity measures are happening here. Like, it's definitely, when you look at it, it's definitely not as bad signing as people are making out. Like I said, when he gets ripped, it can be a bit comical, but he's had some good games. He stays resolute to his task. He stays stuck to it. He sticks to his task. 2013-14 was a quality season by him. He probably was a bit underwhelming when I said earlier when he was at Milan. For me, he was decent at Genoa. Dortmund, he's done his thing. Like, it's definitely a decent signing. And when you can see how this happened. For someone that's going to turn 30, I believe in a couple of weeks, going to turn 30. 1 year left on his deal. His agent's got very strong ties with Mistintat, and he's got the same agent as Mavropanos. In fact, he can help his countryman out in Mavropanos. Obviously, you don't really want that. You want people to just be able to help anyone at this club regardless. But there's definitely some benefits to it. Like, if at the end of the day, if a man's competent and consistent, that's all we can ask for. If it's up to me, we'd still sign another centre-half. But I'm definitely not as bad I'm not as troubled by this signing, for want of better words, as I would, to be honest. Like I said, when go and look at YouTube, sometimes when he gets ripped, he gets destroyed and the concentration isn't there. And one thing that is worrying is he was obviously a part of this Dortmund side that's had a bit of a woeful season. I believe at point in 34 games, they conceded like 47 goals. So there is something, there is something with that. He can be a bit rash at times, like I said, but by that same logic, there's times when he's not afraid to put a foot in, times when he hardly makes a mistake. It definitely is a decent signing. Like I said, if you was looking before the summer of thinking, all right, boom, we need a centre-half, we need a goalie, it's probably not the centre-half. You was probably thinking of Koulibaly or letting scouts do their jobs, but this is what it is now. Arsenal are going through some austerity measures, and to a degree, like I said, you could claim it is underwhelming, but let's trust in spend. Let's just give the man a chance in it. Even if we remember that, I do think there's a game against Berlin that he played in. I don't know why it's coming back to me now. Like, I really don't know why. I'm so sure he got sent off very quickly in that game as well against Berlin in the DFB Pokal German Cup thingy. I do think he's got sent off there. So at times he can lose his head and probably needs to think a bit more. But he definitely is better than some people are giving him credit for. Like, a lot of my friends are bantering me and expecting him to be comical. I hope he proves us wrong, man. At the end of the day, you just have to get behind the man, to be fair. Like, Like, it doesn't mean anything, but you're seeing some other big clubs linked with him, so maybe there's something in it. I'm prepared to give a man a chance at the same time, because if we're on this, even if we wanted a bigger name, the performances of our two centre halves, definitely after, I'd probably say was when we started approaching November period, has been below par. And on that logic, a lot of centre halves walk into this side. So at least he can put pressure on them and step up to when required. And by that same logic, if he is 30 years of age, or granted he would have 5 years left, it allows us to maybe let the holdings and the young centre halves coming in, if true and Mavropanos, it gives them time to either go out on loan, stay at the club, learn their craft, and then some players can be moved on. By the same logic, you could say, what is the point of this signing, which I've said before, in which we're going to have to review his position in a couple of years from now, when we could have just went big for someone that was more on the 20 sides, not to be ageist, because you've seen people have long careers as a centre half. I mean, 30 years of age is still a lot of years to have as a centre half. But when you look at Arsenal, when centre halves get older, we don't tailor our game to suit them. Look at Chelsea and Jose, how they protected Terry versus how us and Koscielny. In fact, Koscielny needs to change his game. He can't be that overly aggressive centre half. He needs to be the Mertesacker to Mustafi if they're to play together, similar to how Mertesacker was for him. But he's not trying to learn that. So yeah, man. Definitely not as a bad sign as people are making out, man. But let's give him time, man. You got there's no point in it. Just because you didn't want him to sign, why are you getting onto him like that? Guys, deluded, man. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. We'll see how this one develops. Allegedly, it's going to be announced this week. I'm not in the know. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just looking at the same websites and the same gossip you guys are. Guys, deluded. I'm out.